the way that you eat can affect how much sleep you actually feel like you need. Meaning how much sleep you get and then how rested you feel the next day, basically. So the earlier you stop eating in the day, like 4 or 5 hours being the absolute minimum you should actually have before you go to bed. Like if you eat dinner at 5 and you want to go to bed at 10, you have 5 hours ish. That's around the minimum. 5 hours, 4 hours. I think that will make it so that the 7 hours average, whatever, you can actually wake up feeling relatively rested. But you can push that, and it seems to be somewhat linear. Meaning, if you stop eating at like 3 p.m. and you go to bed at 10, maybe you can have 1 hour less of sleep and still feel as rested as the 7 hours. Say you have 6 hours then. And it seems like it keeps going down to about, I don't know, in my experience, something like 4 hours of sleep. When I would fast, like fully fasted, no calories of any kind for like a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. I don't know that there's any more benefit in say 2 days of fasting than there is in like 6 days of fasting, because you still need some level of sleep. But it seems to me like whenever I would fast a day, 2 days, 3 days, that basically something like 4 hours of sleep still felt like that 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep. And I think it just has to do with that your body isn't doing much that it's normally doing while you're actually sleeping. Like there's no digestion going on, like zero, because it might be a little bit gross, but after you have fasted for, I think it's about, in my experience, it's about 3 full days. So like literally 72 hours with no food at all, you won't poop anymore. It's just, I've only gone to a little bit over 8 days. But if you have your last poop on like your third day with 0 calories, up till 8 days, I didn't have to poop anymore after that. It's just what it was. And I've read about that before, which is actually a really cool side effect. But that just shows you that that part of your system is just not having to run. And I think they even said that at the third day, it's not even food necessarily that's coming out of you. It's like the kind of like the lining of the whole system that you're kind of just like releasing, which I think happens naturally even when you eat, but I just think it happens in like smaller amounts throughout, just normal like consumption and elimination of food. But when you don't eat at all, it allows that whole inner lining to kind of shed, or some of it to kind of slough off so it can like regenerate. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's definitely a different poop at 3 days than it is when you're normally eating food and everything. So like I always have had, I don't know, for the last decade, I've had like some kind of I had a Whoop strap, and I've had different Fitbits, and I've had Samsung watches and different things like that. And they track your sleep, and I know they're not perfect, but it will tell you like how much deep sleep and REM sleep and light sleep and things you got. And it'll give you like a score. Like your sleep score this day was 54, and then it'll give you like an energy score, and it'll say, even though you're like, some days my sleep score will be really low like that, like I think it's out of 100, it'll be like 54, but my energy level might be like 78 or something like that. And then when I get more sleep, like my sleep score, I feel like today my sleep score was like 78, which is a really high sleep score for me. But then my energy level was like in the 90s, it said. And those numbers don't always feel exactly how it actually feels. But when I would fast and I would sleep like way less, and part of this, honestly, part of this is even a lot of the fasting I did was even when I was still drinking. So I guess I was having those calories, but alcohol calories, the way I understand it, don't count exactly the same as other calories. Just for the same reason that like sugar alcohols don't count towards your carbs. I'm not recommending that you do this. I'm just saying it's one of the reasons I wasn't sleeping as much at the time, but I also wasn't eating at all. But I would have like 4 hours of sleep, something like that, and then my energy level would still be really high. It would be like in the mid 80s. And my sleep score, it would be like, you know, not great, but it would be like in the 60s or 70s, something like that, because it would say something like I got 25 to 30% of my actual sleep was deep sleep. So then that would be like, even if I get an 8 hour, I almost never get 8 hours, let's say 7 hours of sleep, and my deep sleep will be like an hour and a half total, you know, and then if I got 4 hours and like a third of all of my sleep was deep sleep, it's like almost the same amount of deep sleep. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it changes how effectively your body goes into each sleep stage, and each sleep stage has, you know, it doesn't have an exact like one-to-one payout for what each sleep stage does. Maybe some of them are worth more. Oh, I think it definitely is. Like the deep sleep is worth more. Each minute of deep sleep, you get paid back more in terms of your energy for the next day. And keep in mind, this is like, I don't think I've had many days in the last decade where I have zero caffeine. I've definitely had some times where I kick caffeine fully, but it hasn't lasted that long. So I feel like if I was to kick caffeine, that these results would even be better. Like maybe you could get by, and I'm not recommending this, I'm just telling you something that I've learned. You could get by with 3 hours of sleep. You know what I mean? And it's not like the days when I have really short, when I would be fasted and I would have 4 hours of sleep, like I felt great the whole day. Even recently, I feel like my most recent fast was like 4 days, like a month ago, something like that. Like I have a trade job, and oftentimes like I'll easily hit the 10,000 steps in a day, lifting heavy things, moving a lot of stuff. But I will literally be jogging around or running back and forth to the truck, and I'll jump over stuff because it's like I just have that much excess energy because I'm fasted. And you would think, oh, you're fasted, you're low energy, you got to kind of mope around. No, it's not how it works at all, because you're losing, like your body is burning your fat at that time. So you're fasting in terms of not eating, but you're actually burning body fat for calories, which I believe the ratio is 1 pound of body fat is 3,500 calories, I want to say. So in those fasted times, like I think in that 4-day fast, I think I went down on the scale something like 15 or 16 pounds, of which not all of it is fat. But in 4 days, even if you were to lose 4 pounds of fat, that's pretty good. Most people will tell you who diet, that's pretty good. But I think it was more like half of all of the weight that I actually lost was actual fat that I lost. I mean, it would be impossible for me to know without a DEXA scan or something like that. But just something to take into consideration if you find yourself a lot busier than you want to be. Cutting out meals, and or just stopping your eating window way before bed might allow you, if you have to stay up later than you want to, or you have to get up earlier than you want to, might be a way for you to buy some time back. I don't know. Let me know. Contact me if you got any questions. I'm supposed to say subscribe because almost nobody watches this stuff yet. So either way, watch the video and subscribe. I don't know. All right, I love you. Have a good one.